Welcome back from spring break, our very long spring break. As you know, or probably remember, we are ready to start a new module. So, Module 3, this is kind of I call it the tree prompt. It just kind of gets us started thinking about different things. So, as you look at this picture, it's asking us which tree grew more, tree A or tree B. So tree A started as 2 meters and it grew to be 5 meters by 2006. Tree B grew 3 meters and by 2006 it was 6 meters tall. So usually I have students get together in groups and talk about this and discuss different ways of thinking about it, and I will tell you 99% of the students will write both trees grew the same amount, because tree A grew 3 meters, 2 plus 3 is 5, and tree B grew 3 meters because 3 plus 3 is 6. But what I want to do in this module is make you think other ways, not just addition and subtraction, but also to think of other ways, like how many times larger is tree A now than it was when it began? Or how many times larger is tree B now than what it was? So let's talk about the two kinds of reasoning that we use for problems like this. The first reasoning is called additive reasoning. It's the one that most students know. It is, oh, yep, it grew 3 meters because I know 2 plus 3 is 5. I know 3 plus 3 is 6. So each tree grew 3 meters. Well, for additive reasoning, we use subtraction. So to find how much tree A grew, we do 5 meters minus 2 meters, and we can see it grew 3 meters. Then we repeat the same procedure with tree B. Tree B was 3 meters, it grew to 6. So using subtraction, we see 6 minus 3, it also grew 3 meters. So using this type of reasoning, which is the most typical type by students, we could say, using additive reasoning, the two trees grew by the same amount. They both grew 3 meters. But like I said, during this module, I want to open you up and make you think about other ways of comparing. So another way of comparing two things is what we call multiplicative reasoning. So, when you say he's 2 times older than me, or she has 3 times more money than I do, that would be using multiplicative reasoning. Multiplicative reasoning, and notice how their names, you do the opposite to get the solution. For additive reasoning, you subtract the new height of the tree minus the old height, the new height minus the old height. But for multiplicative reasoning, we divide. Same order, we don't switch the order, we just put a division sign right there. 5 divided by 2, 6 divided by 3. So to look at tree A, instead of subtraction, like I said, you do division. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5 times larger. So tree A is 2.5 times larger in 2006 than it is in 2003. So 2.5 times larger. So you may be thinking, how did she get that 2.5? So over here on the side, I showed you it. Remember how we learned in Module 2, the test we just took before spring break, you always divide by whatever's in the denominator, so I put that outside. Put it into 5. 2 goes into 5 twice. 2 times 2 is 4. When we subtract, we get 1. So it's 2 and 1/2, remainder over divisor, times larger. So notice the difference in the way we label our answers. In additive reasoning, we put the units on it. 5 meters minus 2 meters is 3 meters. So 3 meters long or taller. This tree is 3 meters taller. But for multiplicative reasoning, multiply means times. So we say times larger. So tree A is 2.5 times larger than it was in 2003. Then we do the same thing for tree B. Instead of subtraction, though, we're going to make this a division. 6 divided by 3. And it's very important that you do not switch the order. The order should be the same on both the addition and the subtraction. So tree B would be 6 divided by 3, which you can see here is 2 times larger. So in this case, this reasoning's actually better because we can see the trees really didn't grow the same amount. Tree A is 2.5 times larger than it was. Tree B is only 2 times larger. So using this multiplicative reasoning, we can say tree A grew more because it's 2.5 times larger than it was at the beginning, where tree B is only double or twice, 2 times larger. So multiplicative reasoning many times makes more sense because saying they both grew the same doesn't give the reader any information. But saying that this one is 2.5 times larger and this one is 2 times larger, that makes more sense. So we can see that tree A really did grow more than tree B. So let's look at this. So 6 divided by 3, 2 times larger. And like I said, multiplicative reasoning always gets the times larger. So using multiplicative reasoning, tree A grew more than tree B. So let's go ahead and start our new packet. This was just a little introduction. So I posted all your notes on Canvas. I'm sure you saw those. So each time before you watch a video, you'll want to print out the notes so you can follow along. Okay, let's go to Module 3, Lesson 1 packet. It's the broomstick problem. So it says the red broomstick is 3 feet long. The yellow broomstick is 4 feet long and the green broomstick is 6 feet long. So I labeled each of them because we're going to use those numbers over and over again as we do this. And I want to make sure that we don't have to keep reading these numbers. We can just look here. So let's look at the first question. The first question says, let's try to keep everything in the picture. How much longer is the green broomstick than the red broomstick? So first we're going to use additive reasoning. Get another piece of paper. Additive reasoning, we said from page 1 is when we subtract. And remember how I said order is important, so we do green minus red. So always do the opposite of what the method's name is. Additive means to subtract. So green minus red, I look up here and say green is 6 minus red is 3. So we can see that the green stick is 3 feet longer than the red. Let's go ahead and write stick. So the green stick is 3 feet longer than the red stick. That's using additive reasoning, which means subtract. But we learned there's another kind of reasoning in the first section on the tree problem, and that's called multiplicative reasoning. Multiplicative reasoning tells us to divide. So remember how I said just change this to a division sign. Don't change the order. So 6 divided by 3, green divided by red is 2. And remember, when it's multiplicative, we use the word 2 times. So the green stick is 2 times. So I want you to notice the difference. When it's additive reasoning, we use the units, 3 feet longer. When it is multiplicative reasoning, we don't use units. We never mention feet. We just say 2 times longer. And doesn't that make sense? 3 times 2 is 6. So isn't the green broomstick 2 times longer than the red broomstick? So the green stick is 2 times longer than the red stick. Okay, why don't you go ahead and look at number 2. I would stop the camera right now. You try and figure out number 2, and then we'll go over it together. And anytime you want to stop and work ahead and then check the answers after you're done, that's a really good idea, because remember, you learn a lot more from doing it on your own, making mistakes, than you do from just copying everything I say. So feel free anytime to stop the video, work the next problem by yourself, and then turn the video back on to check it. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Number 2 says, how much longer is the yellow broomstick than the red? So that means yellow for additive. Remember, we subtract. So yellow minus red. And important that we keep it in the same order, so we can't switch the order. So yellow minus red. So we look up here and we go, yellow is 4, red is 3. So we're going to go 4 minus 3. So down here you can see we did 4 minus 3. And remember, with additive comparison or additive reasoning, we use feet longer. So we would say the yellow stick is 1 foot longer than the red stick. Now let's use multiplicative reasoning and compare them. So remember, on multiplicative, and I always like to write my little reminders here. So when I'm looking back at this to study for the test, I have it right there in front of me. So for this one, we do yellow divided by red. Remember, we keep it in the same order. Yellow's first, red's second, and we just change the subtraction to a division sign. So it's going to be 4 divided by 3. And again, this is the same thing as 4/3, right? 4 divided by 3. And usually we like to have the number as a mixed number. So let's use our techniques that we learned in Module 2 to change that. So 3 goes on the outside, 4 goes underneath this division sign. Remember, 3 is called the divisor, 4 is the dividend. 3 goes into 4 once. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract. The remainder is 1 over the divisor 3. So this is 1 1/3. So now to put it in a sentence, and there's a lot of writing on this next test, so you have to be sure to be able to put it into a sentence. We would say the yellow broomstick is 1 1/3 times longer than the red broomstick. So the yellow broomstick
is 1 1/3 times